English for Earth. Talking about our planet. Introduction. Do you see how the weather is changing? Maybe summers feel hotter or storms are stronger. Our planet, Earth, is always showing us signs. We see them on the news, in the changing seasons, and in nature all around us. From ice melting to plastic in the sea, the problems for our Earth are big and touch everyone. These are not just local problems. They are world problems that connect all people on Earth. To fix them, we need to understand each other. To understand each other, we need to be able to talk about them. But how do we talk about these hard problems? How do we share ideas and work together when the problems are so huge? Today, English is a very important bridge. It's the language scientists use to share new discoveries. It's the language leaders use to talk about world plans. It's the language groups use to help protect their local nature. This is why learning English is so useful. It helps you understand new science news. It helps you read important papers. Most importantly, it helps you join the world talk about saving our planet. This book is about a special kind of English, words for nature. These are the special words and phrases we use when we talk about our Earth, how it works, and the problems it has. Think of them as tools to help build a better future for our planet. You might know words like tree or water, but to truly understand changes in the weather, you will need words like gas that traps heat, how much we use and throw away, or many kinds of life. These are not just random words. They are exact words that help us explain and understand how nature works in a complex way. Knowing these special words is important for many reasons. When scientists share their work, they use these words. Knowing them lets you read and understand their important finds, even if English is not your first language. It's not just about reading. It's about speaking up. With the right words, you can talk about nature problems with friends, coworkers, or even online. You can share what you worry about and share your own ideas. Nature problems do not stop at borders. To work with people from all over the world to find answers, we need one language and shared words. Words for nature is that shared ground. So, our main goal in this book is to show you that learning special English words is key to understanding and taking part in world talks and science work to solve nature problems like weather changes. In the next chapters, we will look at these important words in a clear and fun way. We will explain hard topics simply. We will show you new words. We will give you examples to help you use them well. By the end of this book, you will be better able to understand nature news. You will be able to have good talks. You will feel more connected to the world effort to protect our planet. This journey is about giving you the words to make a change. Let's start learning how to talk about our Earth, understand its problems, and help its future. Welcome to English for Earth. 1. Learning English for environmental science. Our world has big problems with nature, like the weather changing and making things dirty. To know these problems and help fix them, we need a special kind of English. This is not just the English we use every day. It is environmental English words. These are the exact words scientists and people who help our planet use. Think of them like a special set of tools. When you learn these words, you can understand much better how our Earth works and what we can do to keep it well. Many of the most important ideas and talks about our planet happen in English. Imagine you want to learn about the newest ways to clean our seas or how to grow food without hurting the land. Often, the newest research, the most important science papers, and big meetings where leaders talk about these things all use English. If English is not your first language, or if you only know a little English, it can feel like a locked door. You can see what is happening, but you cannot fully understand the small details or share your own thoughts. Learning environmental English words is like getting the key to that door. It opens up a world of knowing, letting you read what scientists are finding, understand news about nature changing, and connect with people from all over the world who are trying to make our future greener. Science about nature needs to be very exact. It uses words that have very clear meanings. For example, think about the word biodiversity. It does not just mean many animals and plants. It means all the different kinds of life in one place or area. Why does this exact meaning matter? Because losing biodiversity can have very big effects on our planet. If we just said lots of life is going away, it would not sound as important or as clear to scientists. Let's look at a few more examples. When scientists talk about carbon sequestration, they mean the way we capture and store carbon dioxide from the air. This is a very important idea when we talk about ways to fight climate change. They are not just saying taking away bad air. They are describing a specific science process that can help balance the gases in our air. Another important pair of words is mitigation and adaptation. These are often used together when we talk about climate change. Mitigation means doing things to make the causes of climate change smaller, like using less oil and gas or planting more trees. Adaptation, on the other hand, means changing to live with the effects of climate change that are happening now and will happen later, like building walls to protect from the sea rising, or growing plants that can live in hotter weather. Knowing the difference between these two words is very important to understand the different plans needed to deal with climate change. If we mix them up, our ideas about the solutions will not be clear. Then there is eutrophication. This word describes a process where water gets too much of certain minerals and goodness, which can cause harmful plants to grow a lot and make the water have too little air for fish. This can kill fish and other water life. Without the exact word eutrophication, explaining this hard problem of dirty water would take many sentences, and scientists would not have one clear word to talk about it. Learning these exact words, or this environmental English words, is like learning the letters of nature science. Once you know the letters, you can start reading the books. You can begin to understand the science papers that explain how our planet systems work, why they are changing, and what fixes are being suggested. These papers have lots of numbers, pictures, and clear steps. Without the right words, they can seem like a different language, even if they are written in English. Think about a time you learned something new. Maybe it was cooking, or riding a bike, or using a new computer program. At first, it might have seemed hard, but as you learned the exact steps, the names of the tools, and what to do, it got easier. Learning environmental English words is very much like this. It is about learning the exact words that describe the tools and actions needed to understand and protect our nature. Being able to understand science words directly helps you in what this book calls global talks and science work. When scientists from different countries meet, they need one language to share what they found and agree on plans. English is often that one language. If you can understand the English being spoken or written, you can be part of these talks. You can read the reports that governments use to make choices. You can understand the news when it talks about science findings on climate change or saving nature. Think about the story of the ozone hole. In the 1970s and 1980s, scientists found a big thin spot in the ozone layer which keeps us safe from strong sun rays. This finding was made possible by careful science work and using exact English words to describe the chemicals used like chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, and the process of the ozone getting thin. When scientists from all over the world shared what they found, they used English. This let them agree on the problem and what caused it. Then, international agreements, like the Montreal Protocol, were made to stop these harmful chemicals. This was a very big success in protecting nature around the world, and it happened because scientists could talk clearly, using shared English words. Imagine if they could not understand each other's reports or speak at meetings. The problem might have kept growing, and finding a fix would have been much harder. What happens if we do not understand these special words? The results can be important. We might not understand how serious nature problems are. For example, if we hear about sea level rise, but do not understand the science meaning and how it connects to ice melting and water getting bigger when it's warm, we might not fully see the danger to places near the sea. We might also have trouble judging suggested fixes. If a report talks about energy from nature like solar power or wind power machines, but we do not know what these words mean, we cannot really understand how they work or if they are good fixes. Also, not understanding the language can make you feel left out. When people talk about nature issues, they often use words like lasting, nature's help, or being strong against climate change. If these words are new, it is hard to join the talk or feel sure about sharing your thoughts. You might feel like an outsider, even if you care a lot about our planet. This can make you feel sad and might stop you from taking action or helping important nature projects. It makes a wall to joining in. Knowing environmental English words is more than just understanding science papers. It helps us to read and understand reports. Governments and world groups publish many reports about our nature. These reports are very important for understanding what is happening and what needs to be done. Knowing the key words makes these reports easy to read. Follow news and movies. News places often use science words when reporting on nature issues. Understanding these words helps you get the whole story and not be confused. Join in talks. Whether it is a meeting in your town, a chat online, or a talk with friends, using and understanding the right words lets you have better and more useful talks. Use new tools. New tools for protecting nature are always being made. Understanding the words used to describe them is key to seeing how good they can be. So, learning this special English is not just about remembering words. It is about gaining the power to understand the science behind our planet's health. It is about finding the knowledge that can lead to fixes and giving yourself the power to be part of the world's effort to protect our Earth. Once we understand the basic words of nature science, we can start to see how these words are used in real talks and actions. This leads us to look at how this knowledge gives us the power to talk about the urgent need for lasting ways of living. 2. Discussing sustainability and climate change. Our world is a beautiful, complicated place we call home. To understand it better, we need to learn how to talk about it. Sometimes, talking about our Earth needs special words, like a secret code. This code helps us share important ideas with people everywhere. This is where environmental English vocabulary comes in. It's like a special set of tools. These tools help us understand and talk about the big problems our planet faces, so we can keep it healthy for a very, very long time. Think about when you learned a new word. Suddenly, you could understand something you couldn't before, right? Environmental English vocabulary works the same way. It gives us the words to understand how our planet stays healthy. It also lets us join talks about how to protect it. These are the words scientists, leaders, and everyday people use when they talk about nature. By learning them, you can read about new discoveries, understand the news, and share your own thoughts with others, no matter where they live. It's a strong way to learn about and help our Earth. Talking about staying healthy and climate change. Our planet is changing. Many people all over the world are talking about it. To join these important talks, we need to learn some key words. These words help us understand what is happening and what we can do. Let's start with some of the most important ideas. First, there's sustainability. Imagine a farmer who takes good care of their land. They do this so the land can grow food for many years. They don't use up all the soil or water. They are practicing sustainability. Simply put, sustainability means we can meet our needs today without making it hard for people in the future to meet their own needs. It's about being balanced. We want to live well now, but we also need to make sure our children and grandchildren can live well, too. This means using things like water, trees, and energy wisely. Then, we have climate change. This is a big, important topic. It's not just about the weather changing for a day or two. Climate change is about the long-term weather patterns changing over many years. Our planet's climate is getting warmer. This is often called global warming. Think of our Earth like it's wearing a blanket. This blanket is made of gases in the air called greenhouse gases. Gases like carbon dioxide are natural and help keep our planet warm enough for us to live. But when we burn things like coal and oil for energy, we put too much of these gases into the air. This makes the blanket thicker. It traps too much heat and makes the Earth warmer. This warming is what we call global warming. It leads to climate change, which can cause many different weather problems. So, how does using clear English words help someone understand the difference between climate change and weather? It's like having the right tools for a job. Weather is what's happening outside right now or this week. Is it sunny, rainy, cold, or hot? It changes quickly. Climate, on the other hand, is the usual weather over a long time, like many years. When we talk about climate change, we mean that this usual, long-term weather is shifting. For example, one hot summer is weather. But if summers are getting hotter year after year, for many years, that's a sign of climate change. The word climate itself means something more steady and lasting than weather. Without these specific words, we might just think it's a bad weather year when it's actually a sign of a much bigger, long-term shift in our planet's climate system. Environmental English vocabulary gives us the clarity to see this important difference. These ideas are all connected. For example, cutting down too many trees, which we call deforestation, is a big problem. Trees help take in some of those extra greenhouse gases. When we cut them down, there are fewer trees to help. This can make climate change worse. Also, when forests are gone, the land can dry out and become less useful. This is another way we can lose the ability to support life, which goes against sustainability. On the other hand, there are solutions. One of the most important is renewable energy. This is energy that comes from sources that don't run out. Examples are the sun's solar energy, the wind energy, and water hydropower. Unlike coal or oil, which we use up, the sun will keep shining, the wind will keep blowing, and rivers will keep flowing. Using renewable energy helps us put less greenhouse gases into the air. This is good for fighting climate change and for being more sustainable. What are 3 key sustainability terms that are important for understanding how businesses can work in a more responsible way? And why? First, eco-friendly practices. This is a general term meaning doing things in a way that does not harm nature. For a business, this could mean using less water, making less trash, or using materials that can be used again. It's about making choices that are kind to nature. Second, resource efficiency. This means using things like energy, water, and raw materials in the smartest way possible. A business that is resource efficient uses less of these things to make the same amount of goods or services. This not only helps nature by using fewer resources, but also often saves the business money. For example, a factory that adds better insulation to use less electricity for heating is being resource efficient. Third, circular economy. This is a newer idea that is very important for sustainability. Instead of the old way of take, Make, dispose, where we take resources, make something, and then throw it away as waste. A circular economy tries to keep resources in use for as long as possible. Think about recycling and reusing. Products are made so they can be fixed, used again, or their materials can be turned into new products when they are no longer used. This greatly reduces waste and the need to take new resources from the earth. For businesses, this means thinking about the entire life of a product, from how it's made to what happens to it after it's used. These terms, eco-friendly practices, resource efficiency, and circular economy, are very important. They guide businesses toward working in a way that supports sustainability. They help businesses stop harming nature and become part of the solution for a healthier planet. When we talk about the problems of climate change and sustainability, we also need words to describe the effects. One big effect is sea level rise. As the Earth gets warmer, ice in places like the North and South Poles melts. The water from this ice flows into the oceans. Also, warmer water takes up more space. Both of these things cause the level of the oceans to go up. This can flood areas near the coast. We also see more extreme weather events. This means things like stronger storms, longer and more intense periods of very hot weather, heavier rain that causes floods, and worse dry spells. These events can be very dangerous and cause a lot of damage. Another serious problem is biodiversity loss. Biodiversity means the variety of all living things on Earth, plants, animals, bugs, and even tiny germs. Many kinds of life are disappearing because their homes are being destroyed or because the climate is changing too fast for them to get used to it. Losing biodiversity makes the natural systems that support all life, including ours, weaker. Finally, we have environmental degradation. This is a general term that means the environment is getting worse. This happens through using up resources like air, water, and soil, destroying nature's homes, and causing wildlife to disappear. It's like our environment is becoming less healthy and less able to support life. Learning these words, sustainability, climate change, global warming, greenhouse gases, deforestation, renewable energy, eco-friendly practices, resource efficiency, circular economy, sea level rise, extreme weather events, biodiversity loss, and environmental degradation is the first step. They are the basic pieces for understanding the whole picture. They help us grasp the science, understand the news, and feel confident when we talk about protecting our planet. Now that we understand the main ideas and words about staying healthy and climate change, the next step is to look at the specific scientific proof and facts that support these talks. This will help us learn how to read and understand scientific reports and findings. 3. Understanding and using specialized vocabulary. Our world is changing a lot. To understand these changes, we need to learn some special English words. Think of these words like keys. Each key unlocks a door to a better understanding of what's happening to our Earth. Without these keys, many important doors stay shut. Imagine you want to understand a news report about how the world is trying to stop the planet from getting too hot. The report might talk about global warming or climate change. These are important words, but they are just the start. To truly understand what's going on, you need to know words like greenhouse gases. These are gases in the air, like carbon dioxide, that trap heat from the sun. Too many greenhouse gases mean the Earth gets warmer, like a blanket that's too thick. This is why the planet is changing. Another very important word is biodiversity. This word means all the different kinds of plants, animals, and tiny living things on Earth. It's like a huge, beautiful collection of life. When we lose biodiversity, It's like pages are torn out of that collection. This can make ecosystems, which are like nature's neighborhoods where plants and animals live together, weak and unable to work well. For example, if we lose bees, which are part of biodiversity, many plants can't make seeds or fruits. This affects the food we eat. Then there's deforestation. This is a simple word to understand. When forests are cut down, but it has a big effect. Forests are like the lungs of our planet. They take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen, the air we need to live. When we cut down forests, we lose these natural air cleaners, and more carbon dioxide stays in the air, making the earth warmer. So, understanding deforestation helps us understand why cutting down trees is a big problem for the planet. We also hear a lot about renewable energy. This is energy that comes from sources that don't run out, like the sun's solar energy and the wind energy. This is different from energy that comes from burning things like coal or oil, which we call fossil fuels. Fossil fuels create a lot of greenhouse gases when they are burned, which harms our planet. So, learning about renewable energy helps us understand the ways people are trying to power our lives without hurting the earth. Why are these specific words so important? Because they help us talk about very specific problems and solutions. If someone just says, the weather is changing, it's true, but it doesn't explain why or how. But if they use words like global warming, greenhouse gases, and deforestation, we start to understand the science behind it. This exact language allows scientists to share their findings correctly and for governments to make plans. For us, it means we can understand the news better and know what actions are being suggested to help. Learning these special words about the environment is like getting a secret map. This map shows you the ways to understand difficult science about our environment. Without the map, you might get lost in confusing details. With the map, you can see how different environmental problems and their solutions are connected. You can read scientific articles, even if they are a bit hard at first, and understand the main ideas. You can follow talks at meetings where leaders talk about how to protect our planet. This knowledge is power. It helps you see the whole picture and understand the challenges we face. But learning these words is not just about understanding, it's about being able to speak up. Imagine Maria, who came from a country where English is not spoken much. She cared a lot about the environment in her home and wanted to share her ideas with people from all over the world. She went to an online workshop about protecting oceans, but at first she felt lost. The speakers used words like ocean acidification, marine ecosystems, and plastic pollution. She understood the general idea, but she couldn't ask the specific question she had about how plastic breaks down into tiny pieces called microplastics and how these affect fish. Maria decided she needed to learn these words. She started keeping a small notebook just for environmental English. Every time she heard or read a new word, she wrote it down. She wrote the word, its simple meaning, and a sentence using it. For ocean acidification, she wrote, ocean acidification. When the ocean takes in too much carbon dioxide from the air, it becomes more acidic. This is bad for sea creatures with shells. She also looked for pictures and videos online to help her remember the words. She used flashcards. On one side, she wrote the word, and on the other, its meaning. She looked at them every day. She also started reading simple environmental news online. At first, she only understood a few words. But slowly, she saw the same words appearing again and again. This helped her learn them faster. She began to notice patterns, like how words often start with prefixes like eco meaning environment or suffixes like logi, meaning study of. For example, ecology is the study of how living things interact with their environment. As Maria learned more words, she felt more sure of herself. During the next workshop, She was able to understand much more. She even raised her hand and asked a question using the new words she had learned. She asked about how microplastics affect filter feeders, which are animals like oysters that eat by filtering water. Her question was smart and showed she had really studied the topic. The speaker was impressed and answered her question fully. This small success made Maria feel so happy and strong. She realized that learning these special words was not just about passing a test. It was about finding her voice and being able to take part in important world conversations. This experience showed Maria that even when English is not your first language, you can still become a strong supporter for our planet. Not understanding special environmental words can indeed hold people back. It can make them feel like they don't belong, unable to join the world's effort to protect the Earth. They might see the problems, feel the urgency, but lack the exact language to explain their worries or to understand the scientific solutions being offered. This can lead to missed chances for working together and new ideas. Imagine a very smart scientist from a country where English is not spoken much who has a great idea for cleaning up pollution, but cannot explain it well in English at an international meeting. Their idea might never be heard, and the planet might miss out on an important solution. So, how can you, like Maria, learn and use these special environmental English words well? Here are some helpful tips. First, keep a notebook just for words. Don't just write down words. Try to understand them. Write the word, its meaning in simple terms, and then use it in your own sentence. For example, if you learn habitat, you could write habitat, the natural home or place where an animal, plant, or other living thing lives. Example, the forest is the natural habitat for many birds. Second, use flashcards or word apps. There are many good apps available that can help you learn words with pictures and games. You can make your own digital flashcards with the words you find. Third, read many things. Don't just read one type of writing. Read environmental news from different places, like websites of environmental groups, science magazines for young people, and even short versions of scientific reports. The more you read, the more you will see these words used in real sentences, which helps you understand their meaning and how they are used. Fourth, actively use the words. This is perhaps the most important step. Try to use the new words you learn when you speak or write. Talk to friends or family about environmental topics using your new words. Write a short paragraph about a local environmental problem. The more you use the words, the more they will become a natural part of your language. Fifth, focus on word parts, beginnings, and endings. Many environmental words are made from smaller parts that have specific meanings. For example, the beginning eco often relates to the environment, ecology, ecosystem, economy. The ending sphere means a layer or area, atmosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere. Learning these building blocks can help you understand new words even if you haven't seen them before. For instance, if you know hydro means water, you can guess that hydrosphere is related to all the water on Earth. Finally, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learning is a process. You will forget words, and you will use them the wrong way sometimes. That's okay. The important thing is to keep trying and keep learning. Every mistake is a chance to learn and get better. By actively learning and using these special environmental English words, you are not just getting better at English, you are becoming a more informed and involved person in the world. You are giving yourself the tools to understand the difficult challenges our planet faces and to help with the solutions that will protect it for the future. Once we understand how important special words are, the next step is to look at the different areas where this language is used the most. This leads us to examine the specific language of climate science, where exact words are very important for understanding the complex ways our changing planet works. 4. Importance of global communication for environmental protection. Our world, a beautiful blue ball in space, has problems that affect everyone, everywhere, from tall mountains to deep seas, from busy towns to quiet woods. The health of our planet is something we all care about. But how can we work together to protect something so big and complicated when people speak so many different languages? This is where a common language, like English, becomes very important, especially when we learn the special words for talking about our planet. Think about it. A problem with our environment does not stop at a country's line. Bad air from one place can travel to another. Changes in the weather affect everyone, no matter where they live. When scientists in Japan learn something new about ice melting, or people in Brazil find a better way to use sunlight for power, we need that knowledge to spread fast and clearly to people in Germany, Nigeria, or Argentina. English has become this important link. When we all understand the same words for weather changes, dirty air, or saving nature, we can share what we know without getting confused. This shared understanding is the first step to finding solutions together. It means that a warning about the sea level rising from someone in the Maldives can be understood by a leader in a country far from the sea. This might make them think about their own coastlines or help with world efforts. Without this common ground, important warnings could be missed, and helpful discoveries might never reach those who need them most. This shows us how powerful it is to work together. Protecting our Earth is too big a job for any one person, or even one country, to do alone. We need to hold hands, share ideas, and use our strengths together. Imagine a team building something tricky, like a complicated machine. If everyone speaks a different language, telling them what to do, asking for tools, or explaining a difficult part becomes a frustrating puzzle. But if everyone speaks the same language, the work goes smoothly. They can plan together, fix problems, and build something amazing. The same is true for protecting our environment. When scientists from different countries can easily talk about their research on animals that are in danger, they can make better plans to save them. When engineers from different companies can talk about ways to make energy cleaner, they can help find solutions faster that help everyone. Being able to work together and build on what others have done is key to solving problems like forests being cut down or plastic filling up our oceans. It's about putting all our knowledge and effort together. Also, to make real change, we need to make sure people everywhere understand why these environmental problems matter and what they can do. This is where making people aware and getting them to act becomes very important. English, as a language spoken around the world, helps a lot in spreading this awareness. News about disasters, new science discoveries, or world agreements is often shared in English first and then translated. Many world groups, like the United Nations, use English to talk to each other. This means that when you learn English words for the environment, you can find a lot of information and join a global talk. You can read news, watch shows, and understand what world leaders are saying. This knowledge helps you talk to your friends, family, and community about these important issues. It helps people who just watch become people who do something, people who understand the problems and want to help. Like by recycling more, saving water, or supporting rules that protect our planet. The importance of a shared language becomes even clearer when we look at how world rules are made. Think about international agreements, like those to lower harmful gases or protect birds that fly across countries. These agreements are not made by one person. They come from long, hard talks, and meetings between people from many countries. For these talks to work, everyone needs to understand the words being used. If there is confusion about what carbon neutral means, or what goals are being set for less pollution, the agreement might be weak or impossible to follow. A common language, like English, makes sure that promises are clear, that everyone knows what they need to do, and that world environmental rules can be put into action. It allows for smooth talks, where ideas can be shared easily and trust can be built, leading to stronger and better plans to protect our planet. Let's look at a real example that shows why we need to talk to each other around the world. In the 1970s and 1980s, scientists everywhere noticed something worrying: the Earth's ozone layer, which protects us from the sun's harmful rays, was getting thinner. This was a world problem caused by chemicals called CFCs used in things like refrigerators and spray cans. These chemicals were made and used in many different countries. At first, the science findings were written in different languages. But as more proof came in, scientists started sharing their information and worries more widely. English became a very important language for this sharing. Scientists from the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and many other countries could share their findings in English science papers. This lets scientists in countries that might not have had the same science tools get and understand the important information. Imagine if these findings had stayed in different languages. It would have taken much longer for the world to understand how serious the problem was. This shared understanding, helped by English, led to world talks. Governments and groups needed to talk to each other to decide what to do. They had to agree on the problem, what caused it, and how to fix it. This is where the words of environmental science became very important. Words like ozone thinning, sun-strong rays, CFC, and Montreal Protocol needed to be understood by everyone at the meeting. If there was confusion about what these words meant, or how bad the results of ozone thinning were, it would have been impossible to reach an agreement. The result was the Montreal Protocol on Substances that Deplete the Ozone Layer, signed in 1987. This was a major world agreement where countries promised to stop making and using chemicals that harm the ozone layer. It was a huge success, showing what can be done when the world talks and works together well. The protocol is often called one of the most successful world environmental agreements ever. It shows that when we have a common language to talk about a shared environmental danger, and when we can build trust and understanding through that talk, we can actually solve big problems. Now, let's think about the opposite. What could happen to the planet if world talks about environmental issues are broken up or only happen in certain areas? It's a serious thought. Imagine if the warning about the ozone layer had not spread. We might have seen many more cases of skin cancer around the world, damage to crops, and harm to sea life. The very nature that supports life on Earth could have been greatly weakened. Think about another situation: a huge oil spill in an ocean that belongs to many countries. If the country where the spill happens cannot talk well with its neighbors about how much damage there is, what kind of oil it is, and the best ways to clean it up, the spill could spread much farther, affecting more coastlines and sea life. Without clear talks, help might be late, cleaning efforts could be unorganized, and the long-term damage to the environment would be much worse. This broken communication means that solutions take longer to arrive, and the problems become harder to fix. If our words for the environment stay limited, it's like trying to describe a colorful rainbow using only black and white. We miss the richness, the details, and how urgent it is. We cannot fully understand the complex ways things work in nature, the small signs of a changing climate, or the new ideas being developed in other places. This lack of full understanding can lead to not doing anything, or even worse, to wrong plans that might even hurt the environment. It creates a world where problems grow because the language to talk about them and the tools to fix them are not shared. Being able to talk well about our planet is not just about knowing words. It's about building a world community that cares for it. It's about making sure every voice, from a scientist in a lab to a farmer in a field, can be heard and understood. Environmental English vocabulary is the key that opens this world conversation, allowing us to share knowledge, encourage working together, raise awareness, and create agreements that protect our precious Earth for the future. Just as a shared language connects people, special environmental English vocabulary connects complex science knowledge with the world action needed to protect our Earth. In the next section, we will look at the specific kinds of words that help this important communication. Conclusion: we are now at the end of our time together. It's a good time to stop and think about what we've learned. We started this book wanting to know more about our wonderful world and how to talk about its future. We learned special English words. These words are like keys that help us understand and like bridges that connect us to others who want to help our home. Remember when we talked about how the weather is changing? We learned words like carbon footprint and mitigation. These words helped us see how big the problem is and what we can do. These environmental English words help you read science stories, understand talks about the climate, and know when we need to act. We looked at all the different plants and animals. We learned words like ecosystem services and habitat fragmentation. Knowing these English words helps you see how everything is connected and why we must protect nature. We also talked about how things get dirty, learning words like microplastics and air quality. These words show us how pollution hurts our world and us. And we learned about living in a good way for the future with words like renewable energy and circular economy. These show us how to live better with nature. The environmental English words we learned are more than just a list. They are your way to understand the science of our planet's problems. They are the words for new ideas, for talking between countries, and for speaking up for what is right. Without these words, you can't fully understand. With them, you can be a part of the action. Imagine reading about the sea getting higher. If you don't know words like thermal expansion or ice sheet melt, you might miss the main point. When important people talk about decarbonization, knowing these environmental English words helps you understand what they promise, and if they keep their promises. Even in your town, using words like green infrastructure can help you ask for better, greener ways of doing things. These special words help you focus on important things like biodiversity loss or renewable energy transition. They help you go from just knowing about something to truly understanding it. This lets you join the smartest talks and help find answers. You don't have to stop learning now. The world of nature science and helping the planet is always changing, and so are the words we use. Keep learning and using new environmental English words. Every new word you learn is a step to understanding more and doing more. Keep a notebook for new words about nature you find. Follow good nature groups online. Try to explain a nature idea to a friend using your new words. Look for chances to use these words every day. Whether you are reading about climate refugees, talking about sustainable agriculture with coworkers, or asking for wildlife corridors in your area, knowing these special English words will help you speak up for our planet. Now you can not only understand what people are saying about the world's nature problems, but also join the talk. Our Earth speaks in many ways, but with environmental English, we can all understand its important message and join the world's talk to protect it. Go now, learn, speak, and act for our planet. May the environmental English vocabulary you have learned always remind you of your connection to Earth and encourage you to keep working to keep it safe for the future. The talk about our planet is happening now, and you are ready to be a part of it.